Good morning, everyone. My name is Kristen. I'm the director here at the Center for Wildlife, and we have Ophelia, our Virginia opossum ambassador, and we thought we'd keep her in until we started so you guys can see her come out of her little carrier. So as you guys are joining in, feel free to say hello, say where you're joining us from. And I brought a special treat for Ophelia. She doesn't see it yet.
Here, you want to give me the plate so she doesn't just eat everything?
Yeah. Here we go. We foraged some grubs from an ash tree that fell on our property for Ophelia because I thought she would enjoy some tasty insects. So Ophelia, and feel free to ask questions. We're so glad you guys are with us today. Ophelia came to us at the center going on 3 years ago, so she's turning 3 this year. She came from Squam Lake Science Center, and her and a sibling, had unfortunately been taken from the wild. They were discovered when they were babies, and she had been taken from the wild, and she was raised at home in someone's house. And so when wildlife are raised by people instead of by licensed professionals, among wild siblings and in wild habitats with wild food and things for them to learn how to do what they would do outside in the forest and in their natural habitat, they become tame. So we call that an invisible injury if they become tame or imprinted. And, you know, as much as we love animals, because we love animals, we really want them to be able to live free and in the forest, or, you know, in their natural habitats. So when we make a wild animal tame, we're essentially taking away their wildlife forever. So Ophelia helps to teach people about opossums and how if you love wild animals, you want to keep them out in the wild. So opossums, you guys have probably heard possum, opossum, Virginia opossum, all the same species, just different kind of vernacular. So opossums are Virginia opossums. They are the only species of marsupial that we have in North America. And if you guys are watching, I'll give you guys a second. If any of the kids at home or adults too, can you tell me what a marsupial means? What special adaptation or special biological feature do they have on them that make them marsupials? And we'll give you guys a second.
Hi, Ryan. Hello, Xander in Plymouth. Hello, Sarah. My sister's watching.
Hi, Sarah.
And if you're here, definitely let us know. Put your name and where you're from down below, and we'll say hello.
Yeah.
But yeah, marsupials have a marsupium. Does anyone know what that is?
Yeah, Katie, little hint there.
Marsupium.
It's the same thing that
Hi, Michelle.
kangaroos have.
Yeah.
Because kangaroos are marsupials. It's
She is
a
beautiful.
place that they carry their young.
Yeah, so I think we're still getting people checked in, but
Yeah. So marsupials have a pouch. The females have a pouch. And that's where they carry their young. So marsupials are different. Our opossums are very different. If you think about human babies, we carry our babies in the womb for typically about 9.5 months. You know, elephants I think are 18 months. Squirrels and smaller mammals tend to be less time, but our opossums actually carry their babies and gestate them for 3 weeks.
That's insane.
And when they're born, they're about this big.
That picture.
Oh, perfect.
Hi, Jen. Your sister Jen is watching, as well as my sister.
Hi, Jen.
That's sisters.
Yay,
and Jay is watching. Hi, Jay. And so, yeah, they're about the size of a nickel.
So they're so tiny.
They're so little.
Size of a nickel, barely formed. They're still, they still need to, it's like our lungs continue forming when we're born. They're kind of the last things to fully form on a human infant, a human newborn. So they'll be born and then they'll go right into their mom's pouch, and that's where they'll be for about 2 months. So that's where they do most of their developing, is not in the womb, but it's actually in the pouch. And mom has 12 nipples in there.
You're so cute.
She can give birth to more babies than that, but typically, about 8 or 10 of them will be in her pouch forming. And so they're in there.
She's so funny.
They're in their mom's pouch for 2 months. And so at age about 3 months, they're coming out, and they're furred, and they're just tiny versions of the adult opossums. And some people may have seen that they ride on their mom's back. So mom can be, walking around, finding food, foraging, and doing all this work, and she can be doing all of that by giving 8 to 10 babies a piggyback the whole way. Sniffing under logs. You see her little hands here. They are very, very close to having opposable thumbs. And so they do a lot of work with those hands, pulling apart like rotted logs and looking for the yummy grubs like I was feeding her earlier. She seemed to really like those. Yeah.
Juicy.
So we're heading into baby season for opossums right now. They're starting to be born, and thankfully, like one silver lining of our quarantine and less cars on the road is that our animals admitted because of being hit by cars were actually down 42% in the month of March. So moms with babies in their pouch might have a better chance.
Oh my goodness,
she's
Ophelia.
She's
Ophelia.
so funny.
Rude.
Of taking care of those babies. But a lot of times, starting in like late April, early May, and then going all the way through September or October, people find moms on the side of the road, and maybe they're still with us, or maybe they passed, but they check for babies in the pouch. And so we admit sometimes up to 50, 60 baby opossums every year, and we raise them, and our goal is to release them back into the wild. We actually treat up to 2,500 injured and orphaned wild animals every year in our medical clinic. Our goal is always to get them back to the wild, but sometimes they have permanent injuries like Ophelia, which her injury is invisible, as we talked about. So they live with us in sanctuary. I want to stop for a second and thank you guys for all of the donations that you've made through our virtual programs.
We already have $80 donated on this video from 3 people. Thank you so much.
So we're here. We are getting into our baby season, and we've been working really hard every single day as things change to figure out how we're going to care for potentially up to about 250 patients, with not being able to have 15 volunteers and interns and apprentices on shift, and we also can't have the public up here giving tours and making donations. So when you guys make donations through these, it goes straight to our work, being prepared and being ready for our busy season. So we're so grateful for that.
We've had a bunch of people tune in. I can go through and say hello.
Yeah.
Hi Renee. Hi Heather. Thank you so much. Hi Alice. Alice has a question about should we avoid them, or will they avoid us naturally she had always been afraid of opossums.
Yeah, so opossums are an interesting species. They do they've adapted to live near humans. They're strict scavengers pretty much. So, they find people's trash or scraps or compost. But opossums do have the most teeth of any mammal. So, those teeth are actually for grabbing at things and being able to eat.
Come here.
She's like,
did you leave food in here?
I have a good belly. Little belly. Hang on, sweets.
We got you.
I'll bring your little. You want to take a nap? She might groom herself too. So opossums, anyhow, when they're scared, they bare their teeth. They do a low growl. Certainly, any wild animal, if cornered or feeling scared, could bite. Usually, opossums, they bare their teeth. They show you their teeth, and then their next move is usually to fall over. But any wild animal, again, if cornered, should definitely would be afraid and try to defend themselves. And so,
I know.
We do recommend, not coming into close contact with wildlife. If you see an opossum that is cornered and it's not backing down, that's because their defense is to, they stand still and they show their teeth and they put on this big scary show. So it's not that the opossum is being aggressive. They're just trying all the tools in their toolkit to scare you away. They do have like a biological response if they feel imminent danger. Their body kind of slows down and they pass out like those like fainting sheep you guys have probably seen on the internet. And they let go of this kind of green, oozy, smelly stuff from their anus, and that tells predators that they are diseased and that predators would get sick if they ate them, and they usually kind of move on. So that's another trick that they might try, and they're not even in control of that, really.
No, it's just the adrenaline in their bodies that makes them faint.
Great question.
Yeah, but no, they definitely are going to come and around people because they do love our trash.
And if people feed outdoor cats, which cats can really do a number on small mammals and songbirds, and indoor cats live on average about 5 years longer than outdoor cats. So we always recommend people to keep cats indoors. But if people are putting out cat food, as you can see, she enjoys that. So you might inadvertently attract opossums too. So just being aware of, keeping trash tied up and not putting food outside for pets is a good way to just kind of coexist with these guys and not have them near human dwellings.
But they do eat lots of insects and ticks. If you do have them, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And they also don't spread as many of the diseases that we often worry about with wild animals, like mange and rabies.
They are impeccable groomers, and I'm hoping that she'll get full enough and she'll stop and start kind of grooming herself. But you can see her gorgeous silvery fur. They really clean themselves meticulously, just like cats do. And they also, in their little den area and around where they're living at the time, because they are nomadic, so they tend to move around a lot. But they have a latrine that's separate, from their sleeping quarters. So they are very clean species, and she grooms herself just like a cat. And she actually, we've seen her, it's really cute. She'll lick every single finger and then run her fingers through her hair, almost like a comb. So she's like brushing her own hair with her fingers, which is really sweet. And a stinky fish. So sometimes people say like, ew, they're gross, they eat trash, they're scavengers, they have rabies, all sorts of hateful things about opossums. And, they've got a long tail, which can make them look like a giant rat, and people, have, there's a lot of movies and propaganda about rats. So in our minds, sometimes I'm sure people kind of put them in a negative category, but like Katie was saying, they actually they eat a ton of insects, including ticks. So one Virginia opossum, when grooming themselves and eating
Ophelia,
eating insects, can actually eat 5,000 ticks in a season. And so ticks carry...
Can I go back to bed? I'm nocturnal.
Ticks carry Lyme disease, which is actually almost most prevalent in the northeast region of our United States. So these are a species that we definitely want around. And as ticks have kind of increased exponentially with milder winters and less snowpack, our opossums have also expanded their range. So we said in the beginning that they are Virginia opossums because their northernmost range, really about 100 years ago, was around the Virginia area. But they have expanded their range all the way up through Canada. A lot of program participants, if they're older, say that growing up they were never in the New England region. So it really has been in the last 50 to 100 years that they've been expanding their range. They are a species that will travel on roads. Like we said, roadways have a lot of trash on them. So, you know, with our scavenger species like gulls or opossums, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, gulls are just like flying rats. There's too many of them. But our scavengers are actually only responding to the amount of waste that humans generate. So we always have to kind of turn that mirror back on ourselves. And the less trash we generate, or the less trash we have on the roads or in the environment, the more these populations will lessen or stabilize.
You're so cute. Oh my goodness. Kim, she is so adorable, and her feet are very much like hands. They do look a lot like hands. They're very good at climbing, and they're going to use those hands to grab and hold on to things. That's the almost opposable thumb on the back toe. That's what that's for. Thank you again to everybody who's donated. We really appreciate it. We've had 6 people donate. Thank you guys so much. Molly and Deacon are here. Good morning. Christina, hello. Rebecca says that Xander would like to let us know that we have a regular opossum visitor to our compost pile. Yay! Yeah, compost piles are one place where you're definitely going to see them. That's absolutely true, Deborah, that they do keep the tick population down. We're so glad that the education around opossums and ticks has become a little bit more commonplace. People seem to appreciate them more around here, at least. It tells us that we're doing our jobs. Monty, hello. Caitlin, hello. Beth, hello. Hi, Evan. Thank you so much to everybody who's tuning in and letting us know that you're here. We really miss being able to connect with you guys, so definitely let us know.
So you guys probably noticed too, you know, all of our wildlife and all animals, including humans, have different superpowers, and so we all kind of rely on different senses to do what we need to do. So you guys probably noticed her using her nose a lot. Opossums have a really great sense of smell, which is helping them find carrion, which is a nice word for dead things, in the wild. And she also has all these wild, crazy whiskers, which help her feel things in the dark. She certainly can see. It's not that she doesn't have eyesight or even good eyesight, but she definitely has a more well-developed and overdeveloped sense of smell in her whiskers, too, for feeling.
We had a great question for you, Kristen, from Amity. Are donations through this platform still getting matched 100%?
Yes, they are.
Through Facebook?
Up until Earth Day, yes. Yeah. So we've been reporting to that donor, and she's a long-time donor that lives in our region, and she actually recently lost her husband, and so this match is in honor of her husband. And we've been updating her, and she is so thrilled that we're actually yesterday we crossed the halfway mark. Yay. And it just means so much. You know, it's like donors are not this faceless group. You know, it's all of you watching at home, or you know, we know that you're making decisions with your household and with your loved ones on, what makes sense during this quarantine and during this crisis, and certainly all of our longtime donors or people that put up those matches are also making those same decisions, and they're often, our donors are so beautiful, they like to remain anonymous a lot of the time, and they're like, I don't want to make the gift in my name, I want to make it in a loved one's name or a loved one's honor or memory. So they are still being matched. Awesome question, and
thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. It means a lot to us.
Hi Bailey, we miss you.
Hello.
Hi Sharon, we miss you too. Let's see. Ruth says she's had these guys, their families in her backyard. They have big families.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Heather. Yeah. Yay.
Here's a picture of what a baby would be when they're
God,
emerging from their mommy's pouch. And we actually, one of my favorite cases at the center, we had a mom who had been hit by a car, and she had a fractured jaw, and she had a pouch full of 8 babies, and Dr. John Means stabilized or wired her jaw, and because it's made out of bone just like ours, so and then she had some head trauma, and we wanted to keep her comfortable. We didn't know if she was going to be able to be released, but we wanted to keep her comfortable and keep her taken care of, feeding her babies as long as we could, because we knew that the babies would have the best chance of survival if they were being raised by their mom. And so we didn't know if she would be able to be released, but she recovered incredibly, and she fed her babies and nursed them, which it's like they're inside of our building, and, intensive care units. So think about if we were in a hospital bed, feeding triplets every 2 hours with a fractured jaw and head trauma. It's just incredible, except that she had 8 babies. So we moved them to an outdoor enclosure. She's continued to improve. They emerged from her pouch, and we'd go out to feed her, and she'd have 8 babies hanging on her. So we kind of got to see how much they do in the wild, and ultimately we were able to release the mom and her whole entire family together.
So cool.
It's just one of my favorite.
That's an amazing
little cases.
Oh my gosh,
sweet. They're such good moms.
We have a question about from Jen asking about whether they hang upside down from their tail. She remembers seeing that in a lot of books when she was a kid.
Question.
She's exploring around the table.
So their tail is called a prehensile tail, and they definitely use it for help with climbing and balance, but really cannot support the weight of an adult opossum. So even though that looks super cute, it's kind of biologically inaccurate. But we usually don't point it out unless anyone asks.
I know. A lot of times they will use it to help them to balance, and so they'll have it wrapped around a branch, and they'll get startled when they see you, a person, and they'll fall, and it's the last thing left hanging on, and then I think that's how that got started.
So it certainly happens, but it's not and they also don't our bats that hang upside down have a totally different circulatory system than we do. So just like when we hang upside down off a bed or a couch, we start to get a headache after a little bit. Same would happen to those guys. So it's not
we're not adapted to hang out upside down.
Good question though.
Thank you. All right, thank you all so much for joining us. For the people who donated, we greatly appreciate it, and they will be matched, so we're so excited about that, and we really appreciate everybody tuning in every day for these morning meetings. We'll have some more tomorrow with Sarah, but thank you all so much. If you have any other questions, please let us know, and we'll hop down into the comments.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you guys.
We are open, so if you're finding injured opossum or babies or anyone in this time of year, we are still open. We have staggered or condensed phone and admissions time because we have to care for so many patients and we only have 2 people on staff, but
Thank you, Mary.
every day 11 to 4 p.m.
Yep.
So
we're open for admissions.
Yep.
Thank you so much, everybody. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.